Welcome to Math 155, Modern Statistics with Computer Analysis. I'm Dr. Alex Halperin, the instructor for the 8 a.m. section, that's section 450. Dr. Kyle Teller is the instructor for the 12 p.m. section, section 515. And I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes going over the course and its policies because we won't have time to do so in class. If at the end of this video you have any questions about anything I've said, feel free to ask them. First lesson is, how do we get to this page? Well, let me go to salisbury.edu, I'll click faculty and staff, my classes, and we get back to the page right after clicking on the course. So now we're going to go into the syllabus, right? Course policies. If you're in Dr. Teller's section, right, the one that meets at noon, then this is the relevant information, right? It's got your instructor, your email, office hours. If you're in my section, then that's my info. Just to be clear, office hours are a time where you can go to your instructor's office and ask them any question about the course material. Please come if you have questions about anything. We are hoping you come to office hours and ask us questions if you're unsure of anything. Regarding the textbook, it's an ebook, meaning that it's online. You should have already paid for it, and you should already have it. We can discuss how to make sure that you're logged into Alex and everything in class at some other time, but just the textbook is an ebook. Now, the format of the course is a little bit different from what you might be used to. We're going to be running something called a flipped classroom, which means that you're going to be watching videos before class, answering a couple of questions before class, and then coming to class, discussing your answers, and then doing more activities and answering questions and that sort of thing. And then afterwards you do homework, okay? So that's a little bit different from the typical lecture format, right? So the way that it's going to work is before each Monday and Wednesday class, you're going to watch the assigned SLO video. It'll be very clear which video it is because it'll be marked in the schedule, and I'll show you that in a second. Throughout the video, there are going to be some questions, some multiple choice questions. Just answer those. They should be pretty straightforward, and you can keep doing them until you get them right. They're just to make sure that you're watching the video, right? There are also, at the end of the notes that you'll see that are assigned with the video, there are these things called reading questions. Those shouldn't take too long. Don't spend any more time on them than you spent watching the videos, right? But please do those. I'll grade them for completeness, not for accuracy, but for completeness. Because then what we're going to do during class is we're going to discuss your answers to those reading questions, right? Maybe you'll discuss them with each other, and we'll have a little discussion as a class. And then, after the first maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, you'll spend the rest of the time working in groups on the in-class questions, which are also provided. And then after class, after we've had some discussions, maybe we're a little bit more fluent with the material, you'll answer the online homework associated with that SLO, with those videos that you watched. Okay, that's Monday and Wednesday. Now, Friday is a little different because every Friday we're going to have something called an SLO quiz. You'll study for it, in the days before. During class, we'll spend the first, 10 to 15 minutes reviewing the material. And then we're going to take the SLO quiz. It'll just be based off of the material that you've already learned. And these quizzes are, I would say, the main thing that count toward your final grade. Of course, doing the in-class questions, doing the reading questions, of course, those are also important. Of course, doing the online homework is important. But the SLO quizzes is sort of the meat and potatoes of the assessment for this course. Okay? So after that, there's going to be another SLO video for you to watch for Monday's class. So that's how things are going to run. Watch the videos, take notes, answer the questions, come to class, do more questions, and then after class, do the homework. Okay? There's a quick little description about the reading problems and the online homework. Just to let you know, for the online homework, you're gunning for a 90% or better. That's what counts as a proficiency for the homework, and that counts positively toward your final grade. Regarding the SLO quizzes, you're going to get, for each SLO, right, for each thing that we cover, usually be about one per week, you'll be quizzed on that. And then we're going to ask you roughly 6 or so questions, and you need to get all of them right on the quiz in order to receive a proficiency, right, a P, right? You got everything right. Maybe you had a tiny error, and that P counts toward your positive grade, like counts toward your final grade, counts toward your course grade. If you got some stuff wrong, you get an S, right, for satisfactory. I mean, you're close, but you're just not quite there yet. And if you got more wrong than you got right, then we call that unsatisfactory U. Now, these are very, very high standards, and we don't expect everyone to get a perfect score on the first try. So what we do is we let you redo the SLO quiz. So on week 1, suppose you take the first quiz and you get a satisfactory on it because you got a question wrong. Well, don't worry. At the end of week 2, you'll have another SLO 1 quiz, and you can reattempt it for full credit, right? And if you get all the questions right then you get a proficiency. And then you've effectively mastered that quiz. You're proficient with that material. Okay? We're going to be a little strict about, quiz makeups and stuff. You really can't, if you miss a quiz, because you have reattempts, you can't just make it up at a separate day or time. You just kind of need to come the next Friday and take the quiz that you missed, right? You get 4 chances to take each SLO quiz. Okay? So there's even if you don't even attempt an SLO, there's still plenty of time for you to eventually get that proficiency, for you to become proficient in that material. Now, why do I talk about proficiencies? How does this relate to your course grade? Well, if we take a look at this chart right here, we see that, for example, in order to get an A, you need to have gotten a proficiency in almost all of the SLO quizzes, right? There's going to be 16 SLO quizzes plus another SLO for, doing the reading problems and participating in class and stuff like that. So in order to get an A, by the end of the semester, you need to have gotten a P on almost all of your quizzes. Okay? But remember, you have 4 chances per SLO to do this. So there is some pressure, but it shouldn't be a ton. You also need to get a 90% or better on all of the homeworks. And we're going to have 3 projects. We're just going to grade based on percentages. You need to have a 90% or better average. Okay? So in order to get an A in the course, you need to do each of those 3 things. You need to meet each of those totals. So it's not really an average. It's more of a cumulative total condition for your course grade. There's also a final exam. We're pretty cool about a final exam. Final exam affects your grade by at most 1 letter grade. If you do very well on it, the final exam boosts your grade. If you do okay on it, your grade remains the same. And if you do not so well on it, then your course grade lowers by 1. Okay? Here are the SLOs, the student learning outcomes. This is the material we're going to be covering in the course. But note that 17th one is really not statistics. It's just being a responsible student. Okay? So if you're interested in seeing what we're going to be covering, you can take a look at that right there. Next up is just a quick statement about communications, right? Check your email once per day. If you have a documented disability and you need accommodations, please, please, please use the OAA to get your accommodations. I can't give you accommodations until I have that documentation. Also, I would love it if you could meet with me about your accommodations. It will be super private. I just want to know who you are and what accommodations to give you, right? It's easier if I can see your face, so I can remember which accommodations you get. Regarding academic conduct, you can read this right here, but basically don't cheat, right? Please work on homework together. Please do not use outside sources for quizzes. Please work on projects together. Don't use AI. If you have to, if you feel you need to, please talk to me and ask whether your use is okay. This kind of thing, right? Let's see, moving on. Yeah, this is the schedule. So, for example, this would be the assigned video. Now, you're not really assigned this video for tomorrow because you wouldn't know that, but like, for example, after, let's say after Friday's class, right, you would need to watch the SLO2 video, right? You would need to watch that for Monday's class, and then we're then going to cover it on Monday, right? There will be reading questions that you'll have brought in. There will be in-class questions on Monday that you'll be doing. And then for the next class, you'll be watching these videos, right? And then you see we'll be covering that right here, right? And so that's how the schedule works. And note that every Friday, there's an SLO quiz, and right here are the SLOs that are covered, right? So the first week, we're covering just the first SLO, just the first 2 sections of the book. After that, we'll be covering the next SLO, etc. So this quiz gives a good breakdown of everything we're going to be doing during the semester. And it even has the final exams. Okay. Here's some stuff. It's technical. It's about the online homework. That's pretty much everything. I just want to point out that we will be using a spreadsheet program called Minitab, sort of like Excel, but it's a bit easier and a bit nicer looking for creating graphs. We'll get into that in class in a little while. And also, we will have something called someone called a supplemental instructor. And actually, this is incorrect. It's not Ashlyn. It is Jamie Zhang. And these times, whoops, let me just delete this. An SI and a supplemental instructor is someone who sits in on class and will help you with your material. Your SI won't be sitting in on my class, but will be sitting in on Dr. Teller's, but she'll be running workshops to help you with the material. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to attend an SI workshop. They are great. And that's all. Let's have a great semester.